Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope your week is going great and that you'll have a fabulous rest of the week. Today's video I am so excited about. I'm going to be showing you how to crop your t-shirts and your sweatshirts, and you can apply this to anything. You can apply this to hoodies, jackets, as long as they have a hemline or a waistband. You can apply the technique I'm going to show you in this video. And starting off, I'm going to be doing this showing you how to crop this white t-shirt. So the first thing I did was I marked the length I wanted my t-shirt to eventually be with a nice red pin. Once everything is nice and marked, I just folded up my fabric until I could see my pin. Folded up my t-shirt, not my fabric, and I had a lot of length of fabric to get rid of. So if you want your t-shirt really cropped, you can actually make another top out of the excess fabric you're going to cut off, and I think I'll make a tube top from mine. Anyway, after doing that, you're just going to make sure everything is nice and flat. You don't want this to be lumpy once you're done with your project, so I do suggest flattening everything out. And now all I'm doing is I'm marking 2 inches from the bottom using a set of pins, and this is going to enable me to sew in a straight line and also ensure that my hem is nice and even. That way you don't have a hem that is wider at some parts and thinner at some parts, as that will not look nice. Once everything is nice and pinned, it's now time to sew a straight stitch straight across. I just sewed a straight stitch around my t-shirt. I know this is stretchy material, but since this is just for the hem, we can get away with doing a straight stitch and it looks better anyway for a hem. But in case you want to use a zigzag stitch and have more of a decorative hem, it's totally up to you. Once that was nice and sewn, I just cut off that excess bit of fabric, and you are essentially done with cropping your t-shirt. You have a new fabulously cropped t-shirt and it looks good as hell. I just got rid of that excess fabric. As you can see, it was quite a lot, so I'm definitely going to make use of that and make something out of it. And now this is what the t-shirt looks like inside out. As you can see, you have your hem at the bottom. Everything looks nice and clean, and once you flip it the right way out, you'll have this nice and clean finished edge, which I really love, and I think adds that element of professionalness to this t-shirt. It looks like I actually bought it cropped, which is something I particularly enjoy occasionally, unless the look I'm going for is a raw edge. And as you can see, this is really easy to do. Even if you're a novice to sewing, you can do this and your project will turn out great. And I hope you guys are not afraid of trying this, because I promise you it is not difficult at all. Now moving on to the second cropping project we have today, I'm going to crop this neon sweatshirt that I got for $4. I like her, she's neon, she's beautiful, but I feel like I wanted it more cropped. That way I could wear it with a lot of stuff without having to just work with it being oversized. I do have another sweatshirt, so I do have an oversized one, and a cropped one wouldn't hurt, so I figured why not. So all I did with this one is I also marked the length I wanted. Make sure to go a bit higher than you intend to crop, because you're going to be adding the waistband. Your sweatshirt is going to be longer than you intend it to be, so make sure you cut it a bit shorter than you intend. And all I'm doing now is I'm seam ripping the waistband. Because I want to attach this to my sweatshirt, my cropped sweatshirt, I had to ensure that I got rid of it in a very clean cut way and it came out nice and clean. That way we can reattach it to the sweatshirt and it looks like we actually bought the sweatshirt cropped. So all I did was I took my time with this. I seam ripped the waistband. Just make sure you target those seams that are attaching the sweatshirt to the waistband, and this will take you no time at all. Once I'd gotten rid of the waistband, this is what you'll have, your sweatshirt and your waistband. And now it's time to crop your sweatshirt. So just using that pin you used to mark the length of your sweatshirt, you're just going to take a pair of scissors and cut off the excess bit of fabric. I cut a bit lower than my pin because I felt like I did not want this to be too short. And after everything was nice and cropped, it's now time to reattach your waistband to your sweatshirt. I got rid of the pin, and now on my waistband I'm just going to mark 4 points. So use the edges to find the 2 midpoints. That way you've divided your sweatshirt into 4 equal parts. So as you can see, I'm just using those 2 pins from earlier and I'm just aligning them to get the 2 remaining edges of my waistband. And after that is nice and done, you will have 4 points on your waistband and you're just going to do the same thing on your sweatshirt. So I just marked the side seams with some pins and then aligned those 2 pins to get the midpoints of both the front and the back of my sweatshirt. I know this video is a bit lengthy, but I promise you it's not because this DIY is cumbersome and hard to do. It's just that I wanted you guys to see everything, that way you're not lost and you're able to do this on your own. So now all I'm doing is, after I have my 4 points on my sweatshirt and my waistband, I'm just going to align these 4 points together. So I'm just getting rid of 1 pin and just putting in the remaining pin to make sure my waistband is properly attached to my sweatshirt. So just take your time and align everything. That way when you attach your waistband and sew it down, nothing is going to be bunching up and looking weird. So as you can see, there's a lot of excess fabric between the pins. I decided I'd show you the option of pinning down the fabric and sewing, or also just sewing freehand in case you don't want to be bothered pinning. So all I did for the front is I pinned down the excess fabric just to make sure everything was nice and aligned. And you're just going to sew along the pins. Make sure you're pulling on the fabric, that way it properly matches the waistband. And for the back, you're going to stretch your sweatshirt as you sew it onto your waistband. Since our sweatshirt is bigger than our waistband, we do have to make sure the excess fabric doesn't bunch up once we are done sewing. So to make sure this doesn't happen, you're just going to make sure you pull on the fabric as you sew. That way once you release everything will be nice and aligned. So just pull, take out your pins as you go and pull your fabric and sew it down. And for the option of not pinning everything down, just make sure you mark the point of the pin and then stretch the fabric up to that point just to make sure everything matches up quite nicely. So as you can see, I'm just pulling as I go, making sure everything is aligned. You also want to make sure that you are attaching your waistband to your sweatshirt. So make sure everything is nice and in line. And I used a zigzag stitch for this because I was working with stretchy material and I felt a straight stitch wouldn't hold as great. So I opted for a zigzag stitch with this project. Make sure to always backstitch when you start and end your sewing, that way it doesn't come undone once you're done sewing. And this is what it looks like once the zigzag stitch is done. You can choose to overlock the edge in case you have an overlocker. I will admit I was just feeling a bit lazy, hence I decided not to overlock the fabric, but maybe I'll do that in the next few days, who knows. Anyway, once you're done, you are done with your sweatshirt. As you can see, it looks so good and you can actually think that I bought it cropped, and I really love that. Some days you want a raw edge and some days you just want to look profesh, so it's all a matter of what you want. I really hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you did. Let me know how many sweatshirts and t-shirts you're going to be cropping. I hope lots of them. I really love cropped stuff, so this is right up my alley. Other than that, I hope I catch your beautiful face in my next video. Until then, take care of yourselves and have a fabulous rest of the week. See you soon. Bye guys.